What is up guys, it's Known Epidemic here, and today I'm bringing you a Call of Duty Ghosts gameplay. It's a team deathmatch on the map Stonehaven. This map is pretty old, it reminds me of Castle, but it definitely doesn't play so well, and it's one of my least favourite maps in Call of Duty Ghosts. But speaking of maps, today I'm going to be speaking about map talk in general. I'm going to be giving you my insight to each individual map in hope of persuading you to buy Call of Duty Ghosts, or maybe to sit back and to watch a couple more gameplays before you guys make your mind up. So the first map I'm going to be speaking about is Prison Break. Prison Break is basically a jungle map, and there's a prison inside the jungle. It's definitely one of my favourite maps in Call of Duty Ghosts, and I'm having a lot of fun on it. There's some pretty good choke points in the map to get a fair amount of kills, and for that reason it's definitely one of my favourites, along with some pretty good flank routes also. So Prison Break, if you're going to play that, be sure to check it out. It's definitely a great map. If you haven't played Call of Duty Ghosts already, try and jump into that first game, and I can guarantee you will definitely enjoy it. The second map is Octane. Octane's definitely one of my favourite maps also, and it's basically a pretty small map with some pretty open grounds. There's only a couple of high points in the map, which is a couple of buildings. So Octane is definitely a map you need to check out also if you haven't picked it up. And if you have picked it up, I'm sure most of you guys already know that Octane is a pretty good map. Moving on, we have Tremor. Tremor is basically a map in the heart of Texas, and there's multiple earthquakes going on within this map. So in terms of the map surroundings coming to life, this is definitely one of the best for that. I'm not really a big fan of the map in itself, but to be honest, with the action and stuff, I can't really complain. They've put a lot of effort into this map. And moving on, we have Freight. Freight's definitely one of my favourite maps, and it's basically a factory, kind of like a transport depot for trains, and it's pretty small, and there's pretty good choke points also. There's a couple of high points which I'm not a fan of, but staying along the ground and stuff, you can pick off a fair amount of kills, and it's definitely a fast paced map to play on. And the next map is Whiteout. Whiteout's a snowy map. Most of you guys may have seen this in the trailers and stuff like that, and it's definitely one of my favourite maps for the large maps, because to be honest, with most of the large maps you can't get enough action, but with this there's definitely a lot going on, and it does remind me of The Real, which was on Modern Warfare 2. It reminds me of that a lot, which is pretty good, because I did enjoy The Real a lot. A lot of people didn't because of map size, but when you had the chopper gun or something like that, it just tore up, and that was that. And the next map is Stormfront. Stormfront I'm not really a big fan of, simply because there's too many high points that people can pick you off from those points. There's a lot of camping spots. Although it's not the biggest of maps, there definitely is a pretty good amount of camping spots, and for that reason it's not one of my favourite maps, and to be honest it's one of my least favourite. Moving on, we have Warhawk. Warhawk is basically an evacuated town with a lot of mortars going off and stuff within the gameplay, and it's open streets and there's a lot of tight alleys, so it's pretty good for combat, but to be honest, a lot of the times you can get picked off by people camping in the buildings. That's a problem with a lot of these maps. I believe that Infinity Ward have made a lot of high points, and for the people running around trying to rush, that makes it hard for them, simply because when you're trying to rush across the street, the first thing those guys up in those buildings will notice is you running across those streets, and they can pick you off in a couple of bullets, because most of you guys know Call of Duty Ghosts, it's definitely pretty quick in terms of killing people with bullets. And the next map is Sovereign. Sovereign's definitely one of the best maps in Call of Duty Ghosts, but to be honest it kind of reminds me of something you would see in Portal. It's a pretty weird thing to say, but if you guys think about it, and if you have played Portal, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of those weird looking guns that you would see in Portal, and basically what Sovereign is, it's a tank assembly plant, and there's a lot of good choke points and stuff. The only problem I have with it is, again, there's a lot of high points, a lot of barriers and stuff you can walk across, and those guys can pick you off if you're running across the ground. So if that was changed a little bit around, then it may be my favourite map, but at the moment it's definitely one of my favourite, even though it has a lot of high points in the map itself. Moving on, we have Overlord. Overlord is one of the maps I have least played, simply because it hasn't been coming up that much. But to be honest, the couple of games I have played, it's nothing special, but also it's nothing bad, so give it a try, see how it goes, and let me know about that. I know I'm definitely going to be trying to get Overlord more in my game modes, and if it does come up, I'm not going to skip it, I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm just going to see how it plays out. Speaking of skipping, I'm actually not too sure you can skip maps in Call of Duty Ghosts. I think it's whatever comes up. I'm not too sure on that, don't quote me on that, I'll have to see. I haven't been paying too much attention to that. But yeah, I'm almost certain that's a case. But like I said, Overlord hasn't come up that much, and when it does in future, I'm definitely going to play it and see how it goes, and let you guys know at that time. But at the moment, I can't really give a detailed verdict in this, simply because, like I said, I haven't played it that much. And one of the last maps we are going to be speaking about is Chasm. Chasm is the hands down the worst map in the game. A lot of people agree with me in this, a lot of friends I have on Xbox agree with me in this, and it's just, there's too much bullshit, there's too much high points, and I'm not just talking about a couple of roofs, a couple of buildings that you can enter the second floor on. There's literally points that's taller than buildings, and it's just a lot of bullshit going on. It's something I'm not a fan of, and it's definitely my least favourite map in Call of Duty Ghosts. They could have done without this and not a smaller map or something like that, but instead they brought this bullshit, which is pretty sad, but at least they have brought some good maps in a whole in the Call of Duty Ghosts, so let's not complain and dwell too much on this piece of shit, and let's move on to the next map, which is Flooded. Flooded, you've seen that in my first gameplay on my channel, and basically what Flooded is, it's an open map with some parking lots and an open street, and within that open street you have a fair body of water, which means that you can't drown in it actually if you don't get out quick enough, and that's something I could have done without, but they're trying to change it up, trying to change the pace of gameplays up, and add a little twist to the maps, which I can't down talk really too much, but to be honest, I'm just not feeling it on this map. And moving on to the last map, it's Strike Zone. A lot of YouTubers, including T-Mart and many others, Muzzafuzz also, I was watching those guys on the race and they were constantly praising this map, but in my eyes, I'm not enjoying it that much, simply because it doesn't play so well for me. Maybe I have yet to play a couple of more games and I will get the hang of it, but at the moment, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, none of that bullshit, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's definitely not one of my favourite maps. I've got some pretty good ones and some pretty bad ones. This fits along the middle, so nothing really bad to say about it and nothing good to say, but it's nothing special and it doesn't play so well. But anyway guys, that is the end of the gameplay. If you enjoy it, remember to leave a like rating, subscribe if you haven't already, and remember to share it to your friends. You really help me out with that kind of stuff, and I am at 138 subscribers I believe at the moment. I'm not too sure what I will have when I upload this video, but it should be up within the next hour, so that shouldn't change too much. But 138 subscribers, and I've got a video up which was on Tuesday night I believe, early hours of Wednesday morning in the UK. That video got 450 views at the moment, which is a pretty good amount, and I'm pretty happy about that, and I couldn't get those likes, those views without you guys supporting my videos, so thanks for that. And the question I'm going to ask you guys before I sign off is, what is your favourite map and also your favourite game mode in Call of Duty Ghosts? For me, my favourite game mode is probably Team Deathmatch or Cranked. Cranked is definitely a change of pace for Call of Duty, and that's something I'm a big fan of at the moment. Team Deathmatch, I've always liked that, and I've yet to play Domination that much. I'm going to jump in, give it a try, if I can get some teammates to play with. And my favourite map is definitely a toss-up between Prison Break and Freight. Freight is probably my favourite, but Prison Break comes closely behind at second place. So let me know guys what you believe is your favourite map and your favourite game mode, and take it easy. Peace.